Related papers 10 to 14. The me sense and the intellect. I have learned that one cannot toss the intellect out the window, as so often seems the case when one first discovers the heart of himself, or metaphysics. The intellect is not the old man to be put off. The intellect is that part of awareness that deals with tangibility, the images of perception, the images of people, places, and things which appear within as awareness. The intellectual nature of us has to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic, and how to cross the road without being hit by a bus. Now that I've had a chance to examine these things more, I have not found anyone in all of human history who has done more than subdue the intellect and its view of things. The ego is something else, and the ego, like the intellect, is to be understood. Before we found the heart, we gave all power and authority to the intellect. With the discovery of the heart, we tried in vain to banish the intellect, to no lasting avail. But the struggle was good and necessary because it gave us practice in listening to the heart. Now we are heart-led and intellect-wary, making sure the intellectual evidences are seen in their application to tangibility and as the confirmation of the heart's declarations. There is a precise balance between the heart and the intellect, inside and outside. In Metadelphia, we hear that this is to worship two masters. Not so. The heart and intellect are a two that are one, just as the line and the plane are two dimensions of a greater single sphere. So are the heart and intellect two dimensions of something greater, Godhead. And just as the plane is greater than the line, so is the heart greater than the intellect. Just as the line doesn't understand the plane, but the plane certainly understands the line. Exactly so. The heart knows all about the intellect, which knows little or nothing about the heart. Is this clear thus far? Remember, we haven't gotten to the old man yet. The ego, the old man, the me sense is, like the serpent, more subtle than the intellect. We knew it had to be, especially when every attempt to get rid of it ended in failure. In my study with others, we have been diligently careful to point out exactly what the mortal mind, ego, me sense, the old man, pretends to be. Hence, we subdue the intellect, but we don't try to destroy it either in the world or within ourselves. Our most fervid anti-organizational and anti-social tendencies are present during this inner battle as we come to understand this point. Eventually, we awaken to a balance between heart and intellect, wherein the heart is greater. Dear friend, in my living, I have found an inner guide that I can faithfully depend on. This seems a good time to remind you of it. We are prone to overanalysis and overstudy. The intellect of us loves to study and ponder enigmas. It will make a mystery of something that is perfectly clear to the heart. So, in all things, keep to simplicity. Wherever intellectual knowledge leads to something the heart already knows, they touch at a point of utter simplicity. Therefore, I implore you to keep the truth simple. It is simple. It is too obvious for words like these. What about the me sense, someone asks? The me sense, the ego, the old man, the deceiver, is a superimposition over the heart and intellect. The me sense says, this is my awareness. In truth, there is no such me to say my. But we have all believed in this big me who says, my life, my awareness, my view of things. As the Bible declares, there is not one of us who doesn't seem guilty of this. This is not a guilt, but a necessary part of ongoingness and self-discovery. We struggle with ego in order to comprehend the nature of egolessness, God. The me sense is a fiction, and we disavow it as quickly as we can. How? By the recognition of its very good service in our behalf. God knew what he was doing. The me sense is the delineation of the divine identity. It is the shadow of the tree that leads straightway to the tree. We understand the purpose ego serves and forgive it, thence to need it no longer. Ego. I don't have enough faith and I don't have enough understanding, Ho said. Oh, of course you don't, Han answered. You never have had and never will have. God is the faithful one, God, not man. And God has total faith in himself, total trust and understanding of himself. God is the faithful, trusting, and understanding one. God, not man. But what about me? Who am I? Ho asked. Our identity is life, Han answered slowly and patiently. The very life that asks that question is divine life, God life. Life is awareness. Life is witnessing, seeing, beholding. We are the seeing of God. But God is the faithful one, the trusting and knowing one. We have not to do but be the faithful witness of good. We are the good, beholding itself everywhere, because the life we are is the life divine. Then what is this me sense that I superimpose and call my identity? Asked Ho. This is the deception, the fraud, the fatherless bastard, the liar from the beginning. Right here, right now, we are God's self-awareness, the awareness of God. The superimposition of the me sense is nothing claiming to be something most persistently. Furthermore, this is exactly how it is supposed to be for a time, delineating timelessness, until we emerge from the enshrouding cocoon. How so? The me sense is the delineation of the divine identity. The ego is the delineation of the egoless I. How would I know the real without facing the false and seeing beyond it? Could I know what light is without having stumbled into darkness? Would I know what health is without having known discomfort or disease? But listen, listen, friend Ho. The light is real. The delineating darkness merely degrees between right and wrong, good and evil, inside, outside, above, below, male, female, and all the rest of the delineating distinctions that adversely outline the all one. Author's journal entry. Awareness doesn't have faith, it is faith. God's faith in the very action of happening. Awareness doesn't have trust, it is trust in the act of trusting. Awareness doesn't have understanding, God has self-knowledge, and this awareness is that self-knowledge happening. As awareness, I look, I behold, I see, I rejoice, I laugh, and I joy. As awareness, I do not have to understand. I do not have trust or to trust something else. God does that, and I am that doing happening effortlessly, here and now. Those who are ready to hear this move to childlikeness and simplicity and are indeed ready. Those who need more of timelessness's time to incubate will understand little that is written here. Oh, but those with the receptive heart will hear the Hallelujah chorus. The child will hear and understand, rejoice and act in accordance. No more linear time is necessary than that. The child isn't bound by the world's time. On having sufficient faith. To humankind, the ultimate meaning of faith is one's total belief in God. Men are continually wondering if they have enough faith. The one who has recognized the subjective idea that God is one and all, and is willing to believe that, is called on to perceive and live quite another meaning of faith. He perceives that since God is all in all, there is no separate identity to have faith or not have faith. He sees that there is no way for a fiction to have real faith and understanding at all. God is the one who has faith in himself, Godhead, and there is no other faith in all the universe. Listen, the human achiever doesn't exist in real fact. He is the mortal myth, like flat earth. He is the old man to be understood and put off. We do not have to identify as that one, albeit we all do until we feel something within the heart of us whispering a song of ongoingness and newness. God really is all in all. God's faith in himself is sufficient for everything. It is a rare privilege to comprehend and affirm this. It removes an awful load of human guilt from us. We are able to end the worry about whether or not we have enough understanding or enough faith. We know we have enough because we are God's own self-awareness, confidently seeing God's good everywhere. But Samuel, this doesn't get down to the nuts and bolts of the human experience. How can I take such flowery idealism and do anything practical with it here in the real world? Does this sound familiar? It's a good question. We have all asked it, and it deserves a clear answer. You will see that this is a question we re-ask ourselves throughout our experience and are called to answer it again and again from all points of the compass until the little whisper of subjective comprehension occurs. Somewhere along the line, we look around and see that man has never had enough faith or understanding. Even the greatest men ever eulogized as people of great faith, but never enough faith. Else they could have solved the world's problems and perhaps still be here. But God has enough faith to create the earth, the solar system, the galaxy, and the whole blinking, sparkling universe, plus this very life we are here and now, the same life the reader is this instant. Listen gently. This awareness we are is God's life. Awareness is in the perceiving business, isn't it? We are constantly perceiving thoughts, ideas, images, things, and situations to infinity. Who is doing the perceiving? God is, not you or me or anyone else. Oh, my friends, Mary, John, Jack, and all, we are the living mind of God and have always been. God has sufficient faith in this awareness, else there would be no awareness. But it is God who is faithful and knowledgeable and full of grace. It is God who is understanding. Do you see the gentle wonder of this? You can. Be still. Be kind to yourself. Sit easy. Turn within and ask the child heart of yourself whether or not there is merit in these words. Aunt Nelly. Aunt Nelly introduced my family to metaphysics. She was a wonderful lady with a great sense of humor and a terrible temper. We remember her most for her insistence that everything, absolutely everything, was unreal. She was also famous for reversing everything and getting the parts of the body mixed up, calling her elbow her knee, her finger her toe, and so forth. Her most memorable mix-up came in answer to my question as a little boy. "How come you're so smart, Aunt Nelly?" She smiled sweetly, tapped her temple several times with a long finger, and said, "Kidneys, my boy. God didn't give me these kidneys for nothing." Aunt Nelly was also very good at giving everyone instructions on anything and everything, and using big words to do it, like supposititiously and instantaneously. "You mustn't say anyone died," she told everyone who would listen. "You say they have passed on." Each word is to be said with the same emphasis, because death is supposititious, you see. Her own passing into the supposititiousness happened as she was looking for a favorite passage in her beloved textbook and walked in front of a streetcar. Aunt Nelly and the streetcar were derailed simultaneously and instantaneously. The first inclination is to tell everyone of the truth we have found, said Han. But let our first inclination be to live it. Then, after we've lived it for an honest week or two, we'll know better how to talk about it. "I agree, old man," said Ding. "Too much talking means not enough doing. I had better get home and hide the wine from my husband." Letter to Elaine, Overtone. Dear Elaine, my goodness, I shook your confidence in me, didn't I? That's good. The true teacher is inside yourself, at your very center. The honest teacher in the world tells you that in the most graphic, simple, feelable way possible, as quickly as circumstances permit. Listen gently, Elaine. Letter 2 led you straight to the ego that you might feel the nastiness of that nearly eternal clump of necessary ugliness. Now that you know the part of yourself that felt offended, hurt, anguished, you know what to come out from and be separate from. All that reacted, that felt hurt, that wrote 25 pages to defend itself and explain its position, is the not you, not I, the fatherless bastard without root that grows outside the garden. That is what we stop associating with. That is what binds us to more and ever more of the same. Elaine, you can try until hell freezes over, but you will never lift that one up to comprehension. You will never heal it or justify it. Its purpose is to lead you to you, thence to dominion and peace. It has done that now. Now you can thank God, thank it, and have done with it. Now you can have to do with God instead of your own nature. You write, letter 1 was supportive. Of what? That intellectual bag of opinions you're trying to lift up to God in some sort of saintly offering? No, I support your self-discovery. That discovery isn't made by the intellectual thinker, but the thinker loosed and let go. We finally, somewhere along the line of birth and rebirth, surrender the attempt to be the thinker to let the thinker be the thinker, and we become the thinking of the thinker in wonder and awe. Letter 2 allowed you to feel the greedy grasper and the shallow identity, the one who is offended, the one who tries to understand, the one who is hurt, the one who hurts others, and who thunders and wonders about the evil in the world, ignoring the wonder who is being the world. I was introduced to myself in the most anguishing, painful ways. You do not have to suffer as I did, but you seem hell-bent to do it anyway. Out of old habit, I suppose, just like the soldier of me. Now that you have met the nasty one, what will you do? Nurse her back to health or let her go? How does one do that? In emptiness and helplessness, asking God's help and confidently expecting it, because that help will be coming shortly. Elaine, there is no way short of making the sharp turnaround from self to self. You have found an external revelator who tells you of the final revelator within you. But you question his integrity, his patience, his ability, his view, and his authority, and have no real knowledge of the anguish that permits these words to be written to you. If you can't trust one who has touched down on the heart of yourself, someone you can see and touch, how will you trust the one in whom you live and move and have your being, whom you can't see? As the young people say, the ball is in your court now. P.S. There is much you can do for the world in the turmoil ahead. You can tell of the world that underlies and is intermingled with appearances. But one can't tell about the wonder that there is here until he has found it, and one doesn't find it until he looks for it. If the shadow world didn't apparently exist, one would never know the real. It's really quite a wonderful plan, Elaine, with nothing cruel, insensitive, or horrible about it. An enormous love is in action here. Anything that awakens the sleeper is painful to the sleeper. Yet, sleep is the means by which I know God's wakefulness and onlyness. Enclosed is a letter from an old journal that will be helpful. About feeling good. There is a genuine relationship between seeing good and feeling good. Who can deny that certain sights bring good feelings with them, or that certain feelings permit the scene at hand to disclose beauty and wonderment that might not have been seen otherwise? But there is something deeper than that. Behind good and its dualistic partner evil is the greater good, their basis in being. Exactly so, behind feeling good and feeling bad is a transcendent grandness, which I don't know what to call, but love. Not love as opposed to hate, but the source for the dualistic pair, love and hate. It is a superlative feeling that, when I am aware of it, elicits the repeated remark, "I feel so good I can hardly stand it." What is occurring here, to be written, is along this line. One can't make a separation between seeing good and feeling good, yet that separation happens in our daily affairs all the time. One sees something good first and then begins to feel good about it. Or one can anticipate Christmas like a child and then, later in time, see the events of Christmas Day. When I look to see good, am I not also looking to feel good? Yes. That's one of the primary reasons for the search for God, in order to feel better and have a happier human experience. And when I anticipate good, isn't it for the same reason? Essentially, yes. But I have perhaps rationalized other reasons too. I would like to think I look for good because God is the substance of every sight, and to see the good in something is to see the God there. Likewise, the anticipation in time is the only means of acknowledging the alreadiness of Godhead. So, I look and anticipate, hoping to feel the superlative love, good, beyond reason and logic. There is no gainsaying. I have been feeling the power and authority of something quite beyond the ordinary. What is coming into print here is the tangible, printed connection between seeing and feeling, the two that are one. What is it that so seems to separate them in the tangible scene? The passions are the things that self-evidently prevent one from seeing good. Who can see the happy cup of coffee while he's fretting over the automobile accident? Who can see anything good when looking through the eyes of greed, jealousy, or envy? If one cannot see good in things or events during those angry, passionate moments, how can he be expected to feel good then? He can't. If one denies himself the opportunity to see the cup of coffee that's right in front of himself, can he be expected to see the superlative good being the cup of coffee? Clearly, no. The answer seems certain. And if one seems denied the opportunity to feel simple human good feelings, can he be expected to feel the superlative love, good behind everything? It seems not again. But God is good. His mercy is everlasting. His blessings are denied no one. The peace that passeth understanding can happen at any time. It can break right through. And with the child, it does. This is a mystery.